Tori.
And I'm Frank.
And as you know, every week we bring you a lot of vlogs, a lot of videos about, taking our travel trailer out camping. We've seen a lot of great campgrounds, been to a lot of wonderful places, but this week we're gonna talk about when bad campgrounds happen to good people.
So as much we'd like to share all the positives, and we'll try to keep it as positive as possible.
Yes.
Sometimes negatives do happen.
But now we know it can pop up anywhere, anytime, any place, no matter how nice the website is.
Yeah.
You can totally walk into a bad campground. And this is not to scare you guys, but just to help you kind of learn from our experience.
Yeah, we definitely had one heck of an experience this weekend. I mean, the beginning of our trip, before we even got on the road, maybe I should have taken it as an omen. I looked at it as an obstacle to overcome, but we went out to start getting things prepped, and we had a flat tire on the travel trailer. Got the tire off, took it in to get patched, got it packed back on, ready to go. I was still in a great mood. I was like, it's been a couple long weeks at work. I just want a nice weekend. The weather's supposed to be nice and sunny, a little warm.
Right.
But we're excited just to get on the road. So we drove in. Drive was pretty nice. It was less than an hour. Website looked good. The reviews looked phenomenal. We'll get into that a little further.
Yeah.
So we're on our way. We get to the campsite. We check in. There's some weird red flags. There's tons of signs at all the seasonal sites are just like 5 miles per hour, slow down, kids, watch out. Like it's kind of crazy within just getting right into the park, right at the check-in, you see all these signs. And we're just like, that's kind of strange. So quickly realize it's a very small campground.
It's much smaller than I was led to believe.
Yeah.
We were like, all right, well, let's just start setting up. We got in, we found our site, got to work.
I backed in on a pretty radical almost 45-degree because the way the sites were, we're backed up literally right against another camper, but in a way where both of our living areas were right next to each other. It's very strange.
I've never seen anything like that. I have never seen sites so close and so on top of each other. Like, I understand some sites are going to be a little tighter than others. If Frank would have been cooking, he would have been standing maybe 6 feet away from the guy who was going to be using his outdoor kitchen cooking. Like, we were that close.
Yeah. As I was hooking up, one of the red flags was the sewer hookup didn't have a cap on it, but a 2-liter bottle that was filled with water upside down blocking it. I thought that was quite strange.
So have you ever encountered that before at any of the other campgrounds that we've been to?
No, I've had different caps and covers, and then those caps and covers were covered by like a large rock to keep them on.
Okay.
But not, the pipes just seemed really large and wide. The 2-liter was just almost the same width, just a little bigger to stick in. But it was actually like halfway in, so I actually had to wedge it out too. So I made the educated decision to not hook up our sewer since we're staying for a weekend. I decided to hook it up because I figured there might be some gas leakage. Spoiler alert, if you do not camp, that can happen when you're hooking or unhooking. It's very rare, depends on the campsite. Interestingly enough, too, our fire pit had half-burnt wood in it, trash. Nothing was really cleaned up before we got there. So we hooked up, very unlevel sites, about 2 inches side to side. Not the end of the world, a lot of sites are uneven. And about 4.5, 5 inches front to back. So there's a decent slope to them. And it seems like we're in one of the more level spots too, which intrigued me. I think part of it too was we've never been to a site where such heavy weeds were coming through.
Yeah.
And it wasn't grass, it was weeds. I mean, it looked like grass in certain parts. It was so thick. So get everything hooked up, relaxed, we're sitting down, and I said, I know we prep dinner. Usually we try to bring some with us for the night we hook up. I was like, what if I go grab a pizza? I'm trying to make it like a little more tolerable.
A pizza party can fix any bad situation, or so we thought.
Yeah. I run out, find a real nice pizza place. Maybe I'll put the name of it in here.
Yeah, pizza place is good.
They're super friendly,
Compliments
super
to
nice.
the chef.
Yeah, excellent pizza. But as I'm pulling in, now keep in mind too, I'm cognizant because as I'm turning onto a road, all these signs are there. I'm going very slow. At this point, I'm going uphill.
The road was not good either.
The road was really bad. 5 miles per hour. I keep on looking down, making sure I am, and I'm also kind of weaving in and out of these little ruts and stuff like that. Campsite's not big. Got no reason to rush.
No.
All of a sudden, I look up and there's 5 ladies right at the pool, and the pool is raised from where the driveway is, okay? So I see them right up in the line of sight a little bit. 4 of them are sitting down facing the pool. 1 lady is standing up facing me, and all of a sudden she does like a double take and goes like this. And I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden the other 4 ladies start to turn around and start waving their hands and like screaming. So my first thought is, oh my God, somebody's drowning. Because it's the pool.
Yeah.
So I throw down my window, as I throw it in park, and pull my seatbelt, and I'm like almost right up against them because, again, I'm going very slowly. This all happened with maybe 20 feet. And I'm like, is everybody okay? Slow down, it's 5 miles per hour. I'm like, I'm taken back. I'm like, adrenaline's rushing, I think somebody needs help kind of deal. So I say, whoa, I wasn't going over 5 miles per hour. Yes, you were. So I'm just taken back, and I'm like, ladies, I was like, I would apologize if I was going over 5 miles an hour, but I was going within 5 miles an hour. I could not go any slower. My truck would, slide backwards, basically. And you're like, yeah, whatever. Just keep going. And a couple F words towards me again. I just said, okay, ladies, have a great night. See you later. Like, drive to the campsite, and I explained to her kind of what happened. I'm like, let's take a walk down the office. I don't know if we're leaving yet or not, or what I'm going to do, but I was like, I just kind of need to go talk to the office. So we go up to the front desk. The lady's talking to, I guess it was her husband at the front desk. So I think it might be like a family. And super friendly, super nice people.
Yeah, everyone at the camp who worked for the campground was very nice. I the easy check-in, there's online reservations, like all the paramounts of a wonderful campground.
Yeah. So this goes into you attract more bees with honey than vinegar, right? So I go in, I'm calm, I explain to her what happened. I'm like, hey, it was kind of a weird situation. I'm guessing they're seasonals or they're regulars, because I thought it was kind of strange, like how they're enforcing, the 5 mile per hour speed zone. Like, oh, I don't think they're regulars, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why would a transient like us, and then you have 5 people from different family groups, 5 different women, they're obviously seasonal campers. So they're super sweet. And I even said to the lady, I was like, the other concern I have is, and this is what I want to get into, was every like 15, 20 minutes, we get a strong whiff of sewage. Like strong. And again, we're not hooked up. I know it's not coming from me. She seemed kind of unfazed by it. And interestingly enough, as we looked into the campsite further after we left, there were comments 2 days before we stayed about the same thing. So that was one of the other reasons why we're feeling kind of uncomfortable there, because we're sitting outside and you don't want to be smelling other people's sewage. I mean, strong.
Right.
Nauseating. Like it strikes you. So super nice, super great people. I think the management there is really nice. She said, I'll even send my husband up there and see what's going on with those ladies, make sure they don't harass anyone else. But she quickly refunded our money for the next, because it's like, I'm not going to stay past tonight.
That was probably the best decision we made the entire weekend.
Yep. So kudos to them. And as we walked past up, the same women were sitting there. They pulled the
Staring
same
us
thing.
down.
We both ignored them. Because again, we were just kind of like over it. But to get into the campsite, and again, I premise the owners and the management there, they're super nice people.
They are. And in fact, that's why we're not saying the name of the campground.
Yeah. So we're going to leave it out there. We will say it's in Denver, Pennsylvania. And the name contradicts. There's no shade at all.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it. There's no shade.
It's a parking lot, okay? There's no grass at all, too. We thought what was the grass around the pavilion, it was weeds coming through the rock. It is 100% rock. There's almost no trees. There's no shade. It is a parking lot campsite. So that's all I'll say is it contradicts its name.
Right.
And there's plenty of other really good campsites in the area that are nearby. Because that was my other beef, is $64 a night.
Yes.
All right, which is not the most expensive, and it's not the cheapest. But it's not cheap.
No, it's not.
For a campsite with just the pool. That's really the only amenity.
Right.
For a couple bucks more, you can go to Lake and Wood in Arvin, Pennsylvania. Fantastic campsite. There's... If you want to spend even a little bit more money, you have Adventure Bound. There's 2 different ones in that area.
Yeah.
You're talking about close to Lancaster area. There's tons. I would avoid this one wholeheartedly. It was the worst one we ever went to. Why is it? Sewage smell. Issues. We later found out that it is a year-round campsite. Seasonal. What does that mean? People are living there. And we have no beef with that, okay? We have no beef with seasonals. We talk about that in the near future. When you're dealing with a full-time living park, you're dealing with a very close-knit community. So if you come in as an outsider, unless you're friends with them, it's going to be a different feel. So we started going back and looking at all the different reviews. Started paying attention to the 1-star reviews.
Yes.
They mimic what we said.
Right. So, and the crazy thing, so there's not nearly as many 1-star reviews. And I'll like pop it up on the screen here. So something very important that we learned is even if a campground has really great reviews, like they had way more 4 and 5 star reviews. Does it go up to 5 stars?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
yeah, that's the highest.
So 4 and 5 star reviews, and it had like a couple like 1 and 2s. And in my mind, I'm always like, well, you're always gonna have some complainers, so I tend to ignore those. Never again. Take a quick second and just read them, no matter how few there are, because if there's like some common complaints, or if you look at the date, maybe all of a sudden within a certain time frame recently, these negative reviews have started popping up and all the positive ones are from like 2 years ago. There's a lot of context to look at in these reviews, and next time I'm gonna like examine this a little more diligently.
Yeah, you'll see. So with the 5-star reviews especially, I started seeing patterns and trends and started to quickly realize they were the people that lived there. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're taken back by. We were like, oh wow, this campsite, it's like 4.5 out of 5-star reviews. It has like 100 some,
Less than
reviews
an hour
on it.
away.
Wow, it's less than an hour away. Then sometimes you want to just look at the positive because you're excited to go somewhere.
Yes.
And then I looked at the 1 to 3-star reviews. Parking lot, fireworks. By the way, they were going off at 11 and 12 o'clock at night at the campsite. It's people are living there year round. If you have the expectation to go somewhere to have like a weekend or a week and check the sites, you don't want to live amongst a bunch of people that live there full time. It's just a different atmosphere, and you will get a completely different treatment, a completely different experience. But yeah, it's just intriguing that we kind of quickly realized that. Even their promotional video on YouTube, made the place look amazing. And then we watched it and laughed because they showed the pond, they showed everything in the area, they showed an aerial view for 1.5 seconds that was so hard to see, and it looks like it was like in the off season when a lot of transients weren't there.
Yes.
And then a close up of one of the campers, and that was all that they showed of the campsite itself.
When we pulled up, I was like, this looks nothing like what I booked. I was in shock.
It took us back, but we tried to still stay
Yeah,
positive.
Exactly.
One of the reasons we picked the place is because of the pool, right? Mm-hmm. Pool was tiny.
The pool was very small. And that was another thing where the pictures, it looked so big.
Like I said, the reason we decided not to say the name directly, and again, I gave that hint if you really want to look into it and find it, it'll be easy to figure out, is because of the way that the owners treated us and took care of us, refunded us, were able to leave. Yeah,
and they were nice. They were listening to us. They weren't like argumentative or anything like that. But man, what a bad camp! That's the biggest dud of a campground we've been to so far.
Yeah, out of 3 years of camping experience,
that's the dud award.
It is the worst by far. Now we took the loss.
We took the loss,
but this is the only time we left. And it worked out exquisitely.
It saved our weekend because we would have been there stressed out. So I think that's a good lesson that we learned. We learned a couple lessons. 1, read the 1 and 2 star reviews, and 2, sometimes the sunk cost fallacy isn't worth it. Is $64 worth being miserable all weekend?
Yeah.
We're lucky that they refunded us, but at the same point,
because they didn't have to.
They didn't have to. I would have been just as okay leaving without that refund.
Yeah.
At that point, because it wasn't going to be a comfortable weekend. It's 80 degrees. We're only an hour from home, so it's not like we drove 3 hours to get there.
Yeah, and it rained yesterday. It wasn't supposed to, and it rained a good part yesterday, so it actually worked out.
It did work out.
But I'm being serious, I'd rather take a $100 bill and light a cigar with it than ever go back to the campsite. And anyone, in our camping circle that ever wants to reach out to us, we will absolutely tell you the place.
Yeah, exactly. Just reach out to us, but I just don't feel like putting anybody on blast.
Yeah, we're not that kind of folk, but I think it's important to share at the same time and how to kind of recover from those. But it worked out. We came back, we gave the dogs a bath.
Yeah.
We ordered Popeyes and DoorDash, we drank some wine.
Yeah.
You make the best of life as much as you can.
Well, that's it. Life is too short.
Yeah.
And camping's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, camping's a lot of fun.
Camping is a lot of fun.
Especially when you go hiking or there's some amenities to enjoy, a nice pool, and that's what we're looking forward to. So the biggest point of this video is just kind of how to make lemonade out of lemons. The situation was definitely a lemon situation.
Just a big lemon. We'd actually love to know, have you ever had a bad camping experience? And don't feel like you need to put any bad campgrounds or anything. Like we said, we don't want to put anybody on blast, but it might be kind of a nice thing to share bad experiences with one another, because it happens. They all can't be picturesque on the lake, wonderful campgrounds.
And we can all learn from it. Continue watching our videos, like, subscribe. Like I said, please do comment, interact with us. Our next trip will be a good one, I hope.
I think it'll be good.
It'll be good.
I think that's a perfect place to wrap this up. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.